the skimming thing is made even worse when you realize if you have trouble sitting down and reading a book physically, or even struggling to read a book on a Kindle, there are audiobooks. Welcome back once again to a new video. Now, if you remember, not too long ago, I talked about a bookish topic that was something very dear to me, and that was the fact that people are buying books solely for the sake of looking like a reader and not actually reading the books that they buy. Well, something even worse is going on in the book talk and booktube community, and that is skimming. Here recently, I have seen video after video of YouTubers and other TikTokers. They are talking about skimming their books and even skipping paragraphs. At that point, I'm like, how can you review a book that you skipped massive amounts of story in? Like, I get it if you're not liking a book. It's okay to DNF a book because at least you tried to read it, but you realized that it wasn't for you, so you stopped reading it. But skimming is a different thing entirely. Skimming is acting like you're reading it. Say you finished a book when you left half or more of the book not even read. There were people over there reading 40, 45, 50, 100 books a month, and I'm like, how is that even humanly possible? I would literally have to do nothing but read my entire life that month to read as much as these people are. But now I realized that a lot of the people that do read that much skim or skip massive chunks of the book. And at that point, how can you review it if you skip most of the story in favor of dialogue? Plus, just reading dialogue, you may as well read a textbook at that point, because it's just two people having a conversation. You don't get the world, you don't get the connection, you don't get like the battles or the descriptions of what's happening. I love that stuff. So to hear that there are people that skim paragraphs that are longer than their Kindle screens, which are not big, this is a small paperback that's only 367 pages long. It's not that much bigger, and that's with the case on. If I open this up, the case is a little bit bigger than the Kindle itself, and that's not including the little margins where the screen's not. These screens are not that big. Plus, you can turn up the size of the words so it's less hard on your eyes. I know for me personally, I have it turned up about halfway because reading on a screen gets tiring to my eyes, so I turn it up to make it less strainful on my eyes. Like if you're skipping a paragraph just because it is the size of your screen, you're not reading. I hate to break it to you, but you're not reading. Because there are going to be plenty of paragraphs that are that big. And I'm not trying to be on my high horse. I'm not. There have been books that I have DNF'd because they just were not hitting. There have been books where I'm like, I am so tired of this book, I'm just skipping to the end. But I never claimed to read them. I didn't review them, and if I do review them, I say, now I can't give a full review for this because I DNF'd it, but I will tell you my honest opinion of up till what I read. But the people that skim their books constantly sit there and review them as though they have thoroughly read the book. And the skimming thing is made even worse when you realize if you have trouble sitting down and reading a book physically, or even struggling to read a book on a Kindle, there are audiobooks. Why are we skimming physical books and ebooks when there's a solution for that? There are audiobooks that you don't have to skim because you can just listen to it in the background while you do other stuff. So what are we doing? You don't have to skim your books and to sit there and call yourself a book reviewer or a book channel, knowing you skipped 90% of the books you read, just seems fraudulent. Like, I could not imagine how does that not trip you up? For me, I can't read unless I'm turning the story into a movie in my head. And I don't see how you can do that if you're constantly going, reading, whoop, big chunk of nothing, whoop. Like, how does that not take you out of the story consistently? Maybe that's why you're not enjoying reading, is because you're constantly forcing yourself out of the story because for some reason you don't want to read paragraphs that are this long, or you don't want to read anything but dialogue. Those paragraphs that you're skipping, they contain rich world building, character descriptions, action descriptions. Like, you're missing such a big chunk of the story by just limiting yourself to the dialogue. Skipping and skimming is not reading. That's the equivalent of turning on cheats in a video game and saying you're a good player because the cheats are doing the heavy lifting. You are cheating at reading, and I didn't know that was even possible. That's the same equivalent. You would call a cheater in a game a cheater. You would call a hacker in a game a hacker. But you're doing that with books and acting like it's no big deal. And to sit there and review it after knowing you skipped most of the book isn't fair to the authors that spent years upon years sometimes crafting these books. Again, I don't know if you guys enjoyed this. This is just me, again, seeing something scary happening in the book talk and booktube community and wanting to address it as someone that has loved reading as a hobby for as long as I can remember. Because I don't want books to be dumbed down because people can't give books a fair chance. What happened to actually sitting down with a good cup of coffee, a good cup of tea, or water even, and just enjoying a book, losing yourself in the pages? Can we bring that back? You're cheating yourself out of a great experience and then getting mad at the book and saying you didn't like it. You didn't even give it a fair shot. Can we bring back reading books and actually reading them, please? I know it's not gone, and again, not trying to judge and not trying to be dramatic. It's just getting worse and worse and worse, and I keep saying it. Alright, I'm gonna shut up now. I've ranted long enough. I just wanted to talk about this because, again, reading is one of my favorite hobbies and has been one of my favorite hobbies consistently my entire life. So I wanted to weigh in on the topic, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!